Hey guys, welcome to our garden. Today we're going to do another garden tour. It is the third week of spring. If you're new here, my name is Kira. Feel free to call me Q, and thanks for joining me. So if you're actually watching all of our garden tours, you will notice that there was no week 2, and that is because we have been pretty sick the last couple weeks now. It's getting into what would be almost like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So we all came down with a pretty bad cold. So we've just been recovering and, trying to take care of ourselves. So this is technically just the second tour of this garden season in spring so far, but since I'm trying to match this up to the calendar year, I wanted to let you know that technically it is now the third week of spring and the first week of April. Is that what month we're in? Yeah, first week of April. So let me take you around and just kind of show you what the garden is looking like a couple weeks later. So I'm at our usual starting spot on our patio, and I'm just going to buzz through this really fast because there's not much new that's going on here. This is our strawberry green stalk. I mean, overall it's looking pretty good. It is time to fertilize it again. So you can see here, the leaves are starting to turn different colors, and so that is definitely a sign that it is ready for some more nutrients. But I think I saw a couple flowers on here too. Let's see. Oh yeah, see this guy. This one was still a little bit greeny yesterday, and so it's starting to go pretty quick there. Oh, here we go. So here's a little flower right here that will soon be a strawberry. Oh, and then we got a little basil here too. So that's nice. Things are starting to fill in. I think I am going to get a couple more plants from the nursery just to fill in these empty pockets. Some of them have things that started to come up, which is really nice, but I really want this to be full, and so I think I'm going to get some like flowers and stuff just to make sure that we can get the most out of this green stalk. And here's our blackberry hedge. It's doing pretty well, and it's a lot more filled in actually than it was even last week. So we definitely need to get in here and start fixing the trellis for these before they get too big here. And then here's our other green stalk. It's not doing a whole lot of anything, and so this is another one that I think I'm just going to get some plants from the nursery and fill this up. This one's in more shade than the other one too, so I want to get some flowers that kind of don't mind that as much. In the past weeks, I've shared some videos about how my seed starches didn't do well this year, period. I made a whole video about it, which I will link below if you're interested, and just kind of like learning from some of the mistakes I know I made and what I am trying to do differently. So I love growing all of my plants from seeds. I like the skill of it, and honestly, it gives me a lot of pride to be able to do that. But in years like this, where it didn't work out the way that I wanted to, I love that I can give myself the grace, which is not easy. Andrew's definitely been helping me with this. But I can give myself the grace to just be like, I'm going to buy some other plants. Because honestly, when I think about it, if other gardeners are buying plants as well as seed starting, I don't judge them for it. I think it's great that they have plants, And so I definitely have to have that reminder for myself of, well, if I'm not judging other people for doing this thing, then why am I judging myself for it? So yeah, I'm going to be buying some plants this year. I'm actually kind of excited about it now. I'm excited to go and get like different varieties and pick them out and bring them home and then just have like bigger plants here. So I'm actually pretty jazzed about it now. And the other thing too is I've still been trying to learn and troubleshoot with what went wrong with my seedlings, and I'll actually show you that next. So this is our table where we put all of our seedlings out to kind of harden them off. And that's basically just getting them slowly acclimated to the sun since they grew inside. And you can see, the stuff I had before isn't doing too hot. These are peppers that I started in like January, and they just didn't go anywhere. And I outline why in the video that I made. This is one of the 2 trays that I started since then. Oh, all the tags are backwards. I wanted to try again with a few of the varieties that I know I liked and just see what would happen. And so what I did for this tray is, first of all, I put 1 seed in every cell because I wanted to be able to really track the germination rates of things. And these were with the new lights that I bought, I want to say a couple months ago. So this was just a complete do-over. I wanted to really figure out where I went wrong, starting from the lights to the soil to the watering, like fertilizing, everything. And I had really good results with these. I started all of these on March 18th. So now they're not even a month old yet, and they're way better than what I had before. So you can see all of these have true leaves on them, so they're first set of real leaves. And some of them are still reaching for the light a little more than I would like. You can see some of these are kind of tall. But overall, like, they've been green, they've been nice, and I'm really happy with the results I got trying this again. And the good thing is a lot of the things that I figured I did wrong with my last seed starting experiments, they went right with this. And so I was correct in thinking that they were the mistakes that I made, and I was able to fix them. And then there's things like this, like these peas, or actually these are bush beans and pole beans. I've been slowly hardening these off, but we've had a lot of like rain and stuff like that, so there have been days that they couldn't come outside. And so these are, you definitely want to get these in the ground before they start getting their tendrils like that. But these are going to be planted probably tomorrow. But I love that with gardening you can always just keep giving yourself opportunities to learn from mistakes, or try something new. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I love that it's always a reminder to not give up. Here in our herb bed, things are starting to really respond to the weather warming up a little bit. This sage is looking really pretty and filled in again. I did come out here and trim it up a little bit. This is calendula. I actually have been pretty good about deadheading these every couple days, and you can see here there's some flowers that I need to get to, but I am really happy that this is here. And then the thyme in this corner is starting to flower again, and that looks really cute and pretty. We have our green onion jungle. There's a rosemary back there. I want to take some cuttings off of that and see if I can propagate some more plants for us. Here's the first two of our fruit trees. This is our very beautiful apricot tree, and the fruit on here, let's see, here we go. This is a good example. The fruit is starting to get a lot bigger. I did notice on some of the leaves the other day that they're starting to get, oh, here we go. They're starting to get these like spots, and I guess now they're turning into holes. So I don't know what that is. If you do know what that is, let me know in the comments. But I was going to ask some of our local master gardeners to see if they could help me with figuring out what this was and troubleshooting it. We have had a lot of rain lately, so it could just be that. And then here's our very sad peach tree that has leaf curl. It's trying so hard. I mean, you can see this thing still has a ton of fruit on it, and that's not great. It doesn't have nearly as many leaves as it should to take care of that fruit well. This tree is just an ongoing learning process for us. Here is a look at our grape arch. It's starting to tendril out, and I think this might still be leaves that are curled up, but pretty soon here we'll have grape clusters on it also. Here's a look at it from the front. So we have two really mature grapevines on this side, and then we have one that we planted on this side, and I think the variety is red flame seedless grape. But yeah, we love this thing. It's been really awesome. And then in front here we have an African daisy patch. I've been really good about deadheading this, but you can see they turn pretty fast. They only bloom for like a couple days. So I've been coming out here and pruning them pretty good every like 2 or 3 days. I'm trying to see how long I can keep this blooming. And then back here we have a lavender patch that this was here when we moved here, but it has gotten a lot bigger and is spreading out, which is really awesome. There's a little lemon thyme right here, and it smells so nice. This is our orange tree. It is doing really well, and you can see there's pretty big blooms on it right now. One thing we noticed though is that on this side, all the leaves are curling. And in here, Andrew said that he actually saw a bunch of aphids in the curling of the leaves. But I don't know if you can see all those ladybugs in here too. I mean, I can see 5 of them just from where I'm standing, but you can see like little red dots everywhere. There's another one up there. So I'm hoping that the ladybugs are here for the aphids. This might also be because of the rain. I don't know. It might be too wet down here, but we'll see what we need to do for it. And then next up we have our little cutie tree. This is a clementine, and it's doing pretty well. I mean, the leaves are a little bit yellow, but overall it seems okay. And there's a ton of flowers on this thing. So now we're at the back of the garden, and the biggest change back here is we finally got our raspberries planted. Last year we had a cattle panel trellis here that was attached to 3 different T-posts, and we grew tomatoes on it. So we took all of that down and then planted these 3 raspberry canes just to kind of start us off. There's so much more cleanup that needs to happen back here, especially to make sure that the grass doesn't take over in here. But they are in the ground and they survived the night. So this is a great start. And then the next thing over from the raspberries, we have this little patch here where we grew pumpkins last year. And I plan on putting some of those watermelon seedlings that are hardening off right now. I'm going to put those right here. And then my plan is to do watermelon and then pumpkin later on in the year. And then next up we have our potatoes. These are just 5-gallon Home Depot buckets that I spray painted years ago on the outside. And we've been growing potatoes in them pretty successfully for the last few years. And we have these back here so that we can hook them up to our drip irrigation. But that's actually next up on the list now that the raspberries are planted. This was one of the first gardening projects that we tried out. This was 4 years ago now, when we were doing our first ever garden. I saw someone grow potatoes in buckets like this. It was Hollis and Nancy's Homestead. I learned this from them, and I'll link their video down below too, because I think it's way better than any video that I could do, because they actually show you all of the stages. And the video that I learned from, he actually did drawings where he showed like what the potato looks like underground while it's growing, which is pretty cool. So I'll link that. But if you're wanting to start growing something that is fairly easy, I think growing potatoes in buckets is an excellent place to start. All you need really is some potatoes that have started to sprout already. You can like cut them in half and just make sure you give them a couple weeks for that skin to kind of like dry out before planting them in the soil so they don't rot. But you can just put them directly into the bucket, and they're fairly easy to grow. I mean, like if you just water them every once in a while, they do their own thing. It's awesome. You don't really have to do much with them. When you get to this point here where they start to come up a little bit, you can like put some straw or leaves over the top just to make sure that any potatoes that grow closer to the surface don't get sunlight on them, because then they turn green and they're poisonous. But this is such a beginner friendly way to grow actually a lot of food at once, and you'll feel really good about it. Since we started doing this, I have learned that it is recommended that you use like food grade buckets or something like that. But if like Home Depot buckets or Lowe's or whatever, that if that's all you have, then like you can totally grow food in something like this. And lots of people do it. You know, we've done it, and it's been really great. So what's happened in this bed since the last tour is I pulled out all of the rest of the grass that was in this bed. We cleaned it out, and then I put this like straw bale that we had. It was just an old one we got from Tractor Supply that we hadn't used yet. And so I put that down in here. It's pretty thick mulch, you can see. It's like an inch or two. And the grass is pretty intense. So I'll always have to come through here and keep pulling out all this grass and hopefully getting the roots and stuff too. But it's way better than it was. It's actually usable now. And then the other thing I did is I planted my okra plants in here. Now these, I don't know if they will do anything. They really struggled, and it might be better just to kind of put new okra seeds down in here. But I wanted to give them a shot for a couple weeks first, just because okra grows so fast that I wanted to see if they would make it. But then like there's this one. We had a couple really cold nights. Well, not super cold. Oh yeah, that guy needs to be replaced. So I'll probably come through and put a seed down in this one. But we got down into like the 30s again, and I think that just killed the okra that was struggling the most. So I'll replace those. But then, you know, like this guy, it's probably going to be fine. And then we have this middle bed here. There's not much going on here. Now this is one of the ones that we put our homemade compost in, and I did notice that we are getting a lot of these little guys, which look a lot like sunflowers to me. You can see they're everywhere. So I think what these are the what is it called? Autumn Beauty sunflowers. Because I do remember those sunflower seedlings being a little bit darker and having like red edges on the outside. And so I'm going to let these get a little bit bigger and see if they do actually match up to the sunflowers that we have. They're kind of everywhere in these two beds, which does make sense because I think I did put a couple of the dry heads of those sunflowers in the compost while I was cleaning everything out. And so I would actually love that. I think it would be great. Sunflowers are my favorite flower. And if these are sunflowers, they will have been acclimated to our garden last year. And so I think that they would give us really beautiful plants. So this trellis has noodle beans on it, and I don't see any yet. Oh, but this one has a lot coming up. So these are Kentucky Wonder pole beans, and they're coming all the way down, which is really awesome. So you can see like this one right here, this is something I didn't plant. So this is, if this is a sunflower, I'll move this one just because I don't want it to grow like right here next to these. And like this guy, he's actually like right underneath the trellis. So I might move that one. But this is exciting. These are the first seedlings I've seen that were direct sown. So yay, we're gonna have a garden. Here is a bunch of stuff I did not put here. I'm hoping some of these are straw flowers. That would be awesome because I grew straw flowers here last year. Let's see, nothing on this trellis yet that I planted. Lots of little volunteers though. And then there's a zinnia that I did put there. There's a potential sunflower that I did not put there, but it might get to stay. And then over here, there's an Armenian cucumber that hasn't come up yet, but this looks like the kaboka did. So we're gonna have a little kaboka squash. Hey dudes. I put 2 seeds here because I wasn't sure if these would actually come up because I'd never planted them before. So I'll move one of these. And then over here, same deal. Not much going on, but I'm hoping that in the next couple weeks, stuff will start popping up more. This is something that has changed since last week. I mean, it doesn't look like much right now, but I completely planted out this bed with flowers. So there are candy stripe zinnias in over there. There's cosmos in the middle. There's more zinnias over here. What is this one? Oh, this one's candy stripe. And then in this bed, it's actually still mostly empty, but I did do the perimeter. So on the outside edge of this side and that side over there, I put in determinate tomato varieties. This one is a golden nugget tomato right here. So that's what all of these are, is golden nuggets. And then I think on that side, what were they? Oh, glacier tomato. Oh, these aren't new to me. Okay, so I put little ones on that side too. Oh, awesome. It looks like one of the onions that I planted here. Oh, 2 of them survived. We got 2 onions. That's great. A few months ago, I had planted onions in the perimeter of this entire bed because I wanted to have them growing up along with the flowers. There were a couple of days where I thought our watering system was on and it wasn't. And within, I kid you not, 2 days, all of the onions that I planted, 2 different varieties, they're all gone. So let my mistake be a lesson to you that if you are planting onions, unless it's raining every day, make sure you go out there and spritz them with some water every day, because it was really sad to buy those plants and then have them be completely gone 2 days later. And I've never grown Mexican sunflowers before, but I've seen them in other people's gardens, and I think they're really pretty. And so I just wanted a little bit more variety, hopefully for, just bouquets and stuff like that throughout the year. And then the middle of this is still empty, so I'm going to put some of my bigger plants or my bigger flowers in here. And in my mind, I would love for these like bush variety tomatoes to kind of fill in the bottom over here, and then just kind of have a little bit of a skirting around these bigger flowers. And then I have these T-posts still in here, and I might add a couple more T-posts just so that I can have actual supports for the flower themselves. because they get pretty tall, but I would love to kind of just like have a base around the flowers in this bed. And then this bed I partially planted out. So we have more zinnias here. We have some cosmos in the middle. I put a couple amaranths right here. And then this is where we all started to come down with the plague. So I didn't finish planting this out. I got to here, which is more than halfway, but this is a little cosmo. And then these are our last three beds. These are all 4x16, and then the middle is three. So just here, the middle is three 4x8 and then the other side is three more 4x16s. But these are the garden beds that we actually planted stuff in over the fall and winter months, and so they're more filled out. This is a beautiful calendula. I have to look up and see where I got this mixed pack, because these yellow ones and then these orange ones right here, they came in the exact same pack, and I love that it's actually like slightly different colors. The other thing I did last week in here was I planted a couple little tomatoes. So there is a orange jazz here that I've never tried before. I got that seed from a seed swap. And then there is, what is this one? White cherry. Also got this from a seed swap, never had it before. So I have a couple tomatoes here. There's some more back there. I'm actually gonna move one of those. I wasn't sure if both of them would survive, and so I wanted to plant them both and see if they would perk back up, and they did. So one of those I'm gonna move. And then there's another little guy right there, and another little guy right there. Or they're gonna be tied up on a string trellising system to these two 8-foot T-posts here. And then over here we have some snow peas. It's time to harvest these again. It's been raining the last few days, so we haven't gotten out here, but it's definitely time to do that. Our garlic is doing really well. So the way you know that garlic is ready to harvest is the leaves at the bottom will start to like yellow, and then they kind of like shrivel up like this and turn just like really floppy and dried out. Now, you don't want to wait too much longer than the bottom 3 or 4 leaves being dried out to harvest your garlic, because the head of garlic is made up of a bunch of cloves, and the cloves are kind of like seeds, if you will. And what will happen over time if the garlic still sits in the ground is it actually is trying to reproduce on its own. And so the head of it will kind of like split apart. The cloves will become all separate, and then each one of those will try to essentially become a whole new garlic plant on its own. Because the way that garlic grows, each clove basically like duplicates itself around and to create a whole new head. I have a whole video on this that I'll link down below if you're interested in just kind of like learning more about how to plant garlic and stuff like that. I made it last fall when I planted this garlic here. But yeah, garlic is one of those other ones that I love growing. I think it's super beginner friendly. I put it in the edges of my bed so it's not in the way, because it does have to stay in for so long. But I think it adds a cool texture. It's a pest deterrent. And I basically planted these and have done nothing with them since then, including watering them. Like, I don't really do anything with my garlic. And then you harvest it and you have this amazing flavor to add to your food that really wasn't that much work at all. But back to this bed over here, mixed in with this calendula, we have, this is cilantro. We actually just came out here yesterday and harvested a ton of it. So this one's all chopped up and stuff, because we made cilantro rice, which is one of my favorite things. And I basically wait all winter for us to have cilantro rice. And then down here we have more cilantro, and they all got a little haircut for the cause yesterday too. On this trellis, I put some of the peas from my original seed starting debacle. Just to see if they would do anything. They're not doing anything, and so I'm going to actually replant this trellis here. Then here, this is either a broccoli or a cauliflower. One thing I learned from this season is I need to label everything a little bit better, because broccoli, purple cauliflower, regular cauliflower, and collards all look the same to me. So I definitely need to work on putting more tags on things for this brassica family, because I honestly can't tell the difference. But I'm so pleased with how all of these look, even though they're all about to bolt and we're not going to get any food off of them. This is the healthiest I've ever grown these, and so I'm still very happy with the win of that, because it means that it's something that I can replicate and do earlier, and then hopefully we'll get food out of it in future years. Here is a Brussels sprout that I saw the corner of my eye. Is you can start to see, you see like right there and right there, those are the beginnings of, like in there, that's the beginning of where Brussels sprouts would be growing on this plant. We have another really pretty calendula, and our, what is now a trap chard, keeping these guys healthy. I mean, just, I love the colors on this one. I find myself just staring at it all the time because I think these are just so beautiful, and I've never grown them this well before. It is kind of sad that they're not gonna be food, but they've just been so beautiful. And then here's the other side of the little brassica patch here. We have some more snow peas. These are the ones that have done the best. This is the tallest bunch of them. They don't produce a lot, but I do really like them. It's, you know, something you can grow in the wintertime. And then in our last bed, I did notice the other day in this brassica plant, which I actually thought was a collard. You can see in there's a itty bitty little cauliflower. So I'm actually going to probably come and harvest that little guy in the next couple days, because otherwise it's just going to bolt. But I'm still very happy with that. It's so cute. This is the other side of the tallest snow pea trellis, and we're still getting food off of this, which is really nice. And then let's see what's in here. I'm always weary of just like putting my hands in places in the garden where I can't see the bottom of it, because I don't know what's in there. But I don't know if there's anything in here yet. This just looks lovely. And then this trellis doesn't have anything on it. I do plan to put tomatoes on here because I want to try and grow a tomato arch. And then this is some sweet alyssa that is growing on the end here with these beautiful same pack of calendula flowers. So like this one is such a beautiful deep orange, and then over here the yellow one. Our pea trellis is starting to slow down, if you believe it. I mean, it's still pretty loaded up. We need to come out here and get all of these guys, but it definitely is producing a little bit slower. I have noticed that the plants are a little bit more yellow than they used to be. Another thing that's new since our last tour is our apple trees are starting to produce leaves, so that's really exciting. Hopefully they will be budding out soon, and maybe we'll even get some fruit this year. We'll see. Here is the snapdragon at the end of our pea trellis. Now this one was that beautiful one we looked at the last tour, and you can see that it is, you know, it's seen better days right now, but there are all these other ones that are coming out. I'm excited for those to bloom. We got one that kind of fell over with all the rain last week, and then these two were here also. And then here is another apple tree. This one is a Honeycrisp. You can see it's starting to have little buds on it, or little leaf buds right there. And then at the base of it we have borage that looks really good and happy. And then we had our daffodils. The daffodils are done. Only 2 of them actually bloomed. This was one of the ones that bloomed. I've never grown daffodils before, so it's been really interesting to see kind of what their life cycle is. But these are perennials, and so they should produce one more through their rhizomes, and we should get more daffodils and more blooms next year. And then here's a look at the blueberries. We do need to fertilize these again, but I mean, I think they're doing okay. And then here's the blueberry that has a ton of flowers on it, and I think it's so pretty. And here's something I actually didn't show in the last garden tour because I kind of forgot about it, but we have these flowers that are growing back here, And they're probably weeds, but they look very intentional and they're actually really pretty. So if you know what these are, can you tell us? I need to put these through like a plant identification app. They're these like really pretty purple flowers, and we just kind of left them because we like them. And they don't seem to be spreading too much, but it looks like someone intentionally put these here. That's it for this week's garden tour. As always, thank you so much for joining me and walking through my garden. As honestly, I noticed a lot of things for the very first time doing it with you. So this has been really great. I would love to know what you're growing in your garden this year, whether it's a garden like this, a bigger garden, or pots on a patio. I want to hear all about it. I think it's all so fantastic and so great. But yeah, I'm excited for another season where we get to grow things together. So until the next time, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.